ही छोटा सा छोटी सी आशा
Because somebody somewhere could blast off a whole nation. Now, whether my best effort clicks with people or not, rejections and dejections and despair a little better. Wow, this actually came out of me.
Madhu, how are you today, you gorgeous?
Thank you so much for having me over, and it's fantastic to be with you.
So, kick things off here, Madhu. I have a very intriguing question, all right? How frequently do you do this? How frequently do you just connect with random people and make yourself so lovingly approachable and available to hang out with them?
Yeah, I don't like to use the word random for lovely people who are trying to connect me. And every now and then I sit on my Facebook and Instagram, and I just, for the fun of it, check my DMs. And ever so often I find lovely people, lovely profile that I feel I want to connect with. Unfortunately, I don't do it with everyone and all the time, but there are certain profiles and certain questions and something I go with my instincts, and I just feel when I received a message from you, I felt I wanted to talk with you. And there are many other messages that I haven't opened. So I don't know how to answer your question. I just go by instincts.
So it's a celestial configuration, maybe somewhere out there, and maybe just, timing and picking up on a vibe. But I think you make a very beautiful analogy here, Madhu, that really you're not, despite everything that you've achieved, you're not too cool or too busy or too successful to be willing to make a connection with people and to be discussing conversations that have significance in your life and to society at large. That is so
because I feel we are all connected by our minds, by our thoughts and our feelings. And as I was trying to tell you, that my manager is very upset with me when I do these webinars or lives, because he feels we have to monetize everything. And once or twice I accepted, I agreed, but it just doesn't make me feel that this conversation that we are having, I feel I should be grateful that I'm getting a chance to share my thoughts and feelings, and I don't like to charge for this. So, it's just, and I truly, whatever I am, whatever I've learned is from someone's mind, someone's books, someone's talks, someone, there's a human mind that has put material out that I have gained from. And that's why I like to share. And when I'm sharing my thoughts or my experiences, I'm also learning at the same time by hearing my own, the way my emotions or my feelings and my thoughts are getting processed and the way I speak them. I'm again learning what I thought I have learned it once. So it's an opportunity for me. Someone, I can't remember who, but someone said, you touch one life, you've touched the world. So that's my aim, to do this.
That was so beautifully said, Madhu, and so sincerely as well. Indeed, your humility is almost as beautiful as you are. Lovely. So I've noticed in all our interactions, the couple we've had, you've always been very energetic, very high, very optimistic. So what is it with you and energy and hope and enthusiasm, Madhu? Does bad stuff never happen in your own life? Tell us the secret, please. Go ahead, make a reveal.
In a funny way, if we are still on this planet, if we are alive, then all stuff happens to everyone. It's just a different time. You're at a different time of the cycle. That may not match. When someone's feeling low, I may not be feeling low on that day, but I'm still here, right? And I'm also, I would imagine, extra sensitive. So definitely there are things that bring me down. But to answer this question in a more, I truly feel that my body is our bodies is the most spiritual thing we have. And we somehow think that we have to take ourselves away from our body conscious to actually evolve or elevate and be spiritual. But I think body is the most spiritual thing. So talking about energy, when you look after your body well And of course, no matter what you do, eventually it is all grace. There is always that. Even if you eat well, sleep well, exercise well, but for whatever reasons, if your thyroid goes off, or if you have a fall and you break your knee, or you have a headache, so obviously you're not going to be healthy. But basically what I'm trying to say is, if you really do all the right things, and when I say right things, not necessarily what is always said on the, eat well, drink 8 glasses of water, eat raw food, well, those are the technicalities. But to be in touch with your body tells you where you are at any time given to you, at any moment in time. So when your body feels well, when your body feels healthy, there is that energy that I can engage with. Otherwise, not necessarily you have to be unhealthy or unwell, but your energy levels are low. Then, of course, with your willpower, if there is an assignment that I have to do, if there is work that I have to do, or if there is, I have to look into my children's health or something like that, then we function from our willpower. So, even though you're doing and getting all the things done, whatever is supposed to be done, if your body is not at its full optimal potential, the energy levels are always low. So I have discovered this for myself. I have never ever felt that I have not done something that I was meant to do. But when I do it when I've got my full energy, that is when my body is in full good health. So even a conversation like this, I am able to engage with you with that energy because I feel well in my body. If I was not well in my body, I would still come and meet with you. I will not cancel my date with you, my appointment with you. I will still show up. But maybe my body language will be like, okay, my voice, a person's voice is actually a measure of his prana, his energy levels in the body. So I always feel that even though there is a myth or there is a misunderstanding, they say don't always talk about body, let's go deeper. But body is the first level, you keep it at the best level, so you have the energy to go deeper and then come out positive or more engaging. And even to give kindness, even to give empathy, you first have to have it in your body and your soul and your spirit, so you can put that out.
That was amazing at so many levels. And you mentioned such profound concepts. So that talks of a very developed consciousness within you, Madhu. And you mentioned all these subtle connectivities, of the mind-body complex, that the body is not an entity functioning just on its own in silo, but really, and it's not about the physical food that we are putting into the system, but it's also what we are feeding our mind and our souls.
Yeah.
Because that equally fuels and propels us, and how we function and how we relate and how effective we are, and what kind of vibrations, relationships we create all around us.
Yes.
That was fantastic. And I know that you also devote time and attention to reading, research. You have some idols or some people, teachers that you look up to, and you have done immense research. So we'll get into those areas as well. But just, of these present times, Madhu, how has the COVID period personally been like for you and your family? And what do you observe around you? In your understanding, how have people in general dealt with the situation, unprecedented as it is?
As I speak with you, I'm very, very grateful at this moment that, myself, my family, my close friends and family are all doing well. So I'm extremely grateful. I don't have any other words to express my gratitude, but there's also a slight fear because I see that the whole world is drowning in some kind of pain and some kind of loss. Loss of lives, loss of good health, loss of money, and there's so many changes. There are loss experienced by humanity at different levels. So there is a lot of pain. And I am not insensitive or unaware of those situations. But having said that, this period of 6 months, starting from March, in India, the lockdown period has been extremely healing and transformational for me. I didn't even know in our busy lives. I didn't even know that how much of busyness we use to deflect our lives. Actually, we are so busy that we don't have time to deal with ourselves. A forced lockdown of this sort has helped me repair so many of my very, very close relationships, relationships inside my house, my home relationships, because we never had an outlet to go to the office or work or school or college. We were all locked down and locked in together. We were thrown at each other's faces. So and there have been a lot of uncomfortable, frictional, fractional moments, but I must say that it has made me actually better, and I have healed a lot of my old pain, which some I didn't even realize I had, but I felt it. That I've been able to change my mindset, change my thinking, change my relationship to a better place. And there is also, I've always been somebody who's got a lot of faith. I have conversations with God. I pray a lot, and these times have only magnified and amplified those moments, because I truly feel that human beings and humanity is at a total loss of control. We always know that the next moment is uncertain. All of us know that we don't know what's coming our way. But these times, if I mean, has really made you feel that what it means when we say that I don't know what's coming our way tomorrow. And that, in a way, makes you feel very afraid. And I told myself that I don't want to be fearful. So if I don't want to be fearful, then I have to surrender my control to the all-powerful Almighty. So my faith has become more, and I walk the planet with humility and gratitude, because that's all I know. If something is working for me at this point, I know that it is not because of me. It is because of the divine plan. And I join my hands in all gratitude, and I keep saying thank you for looking after me, and please continue to do so, because there is a kind of fear that I feel in my heart, knowing that amazingly disturbing things are happening at every instant. So I want to protect myself, and the only way I know I can protect myself is to surrender to the power above.
This surreal vibration of the sincerity of everything that you're feeling every inch of the way, and that you, excuse me, so eloquently and so heartwarmingly expressed, Madhu. It's traveling across all those vast oceans, and literally it is giving me tingles and goosebumps right now. Every bit of that is just so ingrained in your ideology as a person and how you live your life, and you're not just saying it for effect. And
I want to tell you, I'm
Yeah.
speaking not because I know it, not because I feel I know how it is done. I'm speaking only because I feel totally that I don't know. And therefore, the only way to walk into tomorrow is with hope and faith.
Beautiful. So faith at times can also be regarded, in fact, it is, faith is regarded as a weakness as well by certain mindsets or thoughts out there. And the analogy or the living example that you're bringing to our attention is that if chosen the right way, if applied with personal responsibility, then faith, in fact, can be the biggest motivator. It can be your biggest strength.
I'm not here to preach what you have to have faith in.
Yeah.
I'm not here to say have Christianity, a faith in Jesus or Rama, or it is not what you have faith in. It is that you have faith in something that is above you. And that, on the contrary, is not a weakness. It gives great courage, because sometimes holding all the power in your mind and in your hands can be your weakness. When you think that I can make all this happen, is actually makes you very rigid. When that power is lifted, when I say Almighty help me, it gives you courage and you flow. There's a fluidity. When you're holding on to power and say I can make this happen, when you feel certain about that, it actually makes you rigid in your mind and rigid in your body. So surrender makes you flow and fluid, because you know what? you have this moment, so let's at least enjoy it, and let's be forgiving, and let's love. So when you come to this place of faith, then you become very forgiving. So yeah, it actually gives me more courage. And because I feel fear, that is why my faith is becoming more, or I wish to have more and more faith, so that I don't have so much fear, to
So your
mitigate the
journey,
fear.
yeah, your journey is all about just relinquishing and giving up on the toxicity so that you make room to invite the positivity, right?
Yes,
You have to
because
drop the baggage first.
yeah, exactly, Naviksha. In fact, positivity, if without surrender to whatever that power that you think, whatever you have faith in, without that positivity just coming from your words, the affirmations and words or whatever, can actually create a lot of toxicity, as we spoke earlier, because
Yeah.
you are not feeling positive, but you're saying positive. You're not being positive, but you are doing positive. So it causes a lot of contradiction and conflict in your being.
Yeah.
And that can actually become, because your body, like I told you again, to go back to the body being the most spiritual aspect of our being, the body knows that you're lying. When you're telling the world I'm positive, but if you're not feeling positive, your body will get unwell. It will lose its energy. The body knows when you're lying. So it is more important to be positive than to say positive or do positive.
You know, my son the other day, he just made like a completely irreverent statement to me, but amazingly, there was a lot of depth and reality to it. So he said that, oh, language is just overrated. Language is only for communication. I mean, he was just being smart about it. But the fact is that, yes, language is limited. He did not mean it in that spirit. But you and I understand, and so many of us, that language in how we articulate and how we express ourselves in speech, that indeed is so confined because we speak so much more and with such more clarity through our vibrations and just what we carry with us, the space that we bring with us.
Yeah.
So the point that you're making, that this dichotomy of speaking one language and then being a complete contradiction is really not successful, because A, neither are you effective in convincing anyone around you. And within you, there is just so much repair that, you're just creating need for so much tender, loving, compassionate care to your own self, because that is harmful, that is stressful for you as a person to be in that state.
Yes.
Yeah. Does this, your thought process is, it's quite unique, Madhu. It inspires a lot of awe, and it's very beautiful too. And I'm sure it's not very mainstream. Not to say that people in general do not have emotional intelligence or they're not empathetic. I'm sure we all are. Every one of us is in some way, shape, or form or the other. But your whole ideology and the philosophy of how you live your life, the humility, this understanding of that, what do I control? Look at the irony here. We're such control freaks as human beings, and as a society, we want to control everyone around us, our careers, our children, our relationships, our staff, everything. But the irony being that we can't control our own mind, our thoughts, our emotions, or what is happening, transpiring within this physical body.
Yeah.
Ailments, fluctuations in health, we can't control. Yet we want to have this
Yeah.
sort of control on everything around us. So
Yeah.
with all these, these thoughts to you, Madhu, has this affected your ability in building authentic relationships with people around you?
On the contrary, sorry about that.
That's fine.
On the contrary, my relation, see, there are two things. I don't want to teach anything to anybody.
Yeah.
So if you're not interested in, you ask me something that you want to know, and I will share the way I see life, or the way I have understood, the way I see it. But I'm not here, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a preacher, so I'm never going to force my views or thoughts to anybody. So I don't open my mouth when I'm partying with my friends, or I'm sitting on a table, tea party, or with my friends and family. I don't start to say it in Hindi, gyan baantna shuru nahi kar deti. I don't do the gyan bazi.
Acha, but
So
what if you have a personal choice? And the reason I'm asking this question is because it's very relevant to me personally and several of my friends, I know as well. If you make a personal choice that I even forget drinking or eating certain food or not eating certain food or partying a certain way or not doing it, but even thinking or responding to a particular situation, given what is innate and basic to you and to your way of thinking, that this is how I choose to behave. Sometimes this can create conflict, and it just brings you attention, uninvited attention, and you feel that you're not mainstream and that you don't connect with everyone else. Have
no,
these transpired
I
for you?
am I lead a very mainstream life. That's what I was about to come to. I lead a very, very social mainstream life, and I have certain ways of thinking, and that thinking and those laws apply to me and my life. It is never about the other. So today, if you happen to be doing something exactly opposite to what I stand for, I accept you. It's your life. Please do whatever you want. It doesn't affect my life. I want to wake up early, I want to sleep early, or I want to sleep late, or I want to party, or I want to have a glass of wine, or I don't want to have a glass of wine. It's what I want to do with my life. You choose to do exactly what you want, and I'll be there with you. It's
That
your
is
life.
amazing. And that this does not diffuse your ability to hang out with those people and enjoy with them and have fun with them. The difference does not manifest itself at that level of
No,
relationship.
because I have understood that my way of being is only for me. I don't even expect my husband, who is my life partner, to be a certain way. We meet at places where we meet, and where we don't meet, we are okay to walk parallel. Just because we are married, we don't own each other. He's leading his own life and learning his own lessons. I'm leading my life, but we intertwine, and so is true even with my children. Children for whom I'm supposed to be a mentor or a guide, I'm supposed to guide them to the extent I can guide them. I do. But I also understand that my children are now almost 20 and 18. It's now their minds.
No, not looking at you. Except we know they are, and they're gorgeous too.
Thank you. So even at a 20 and an 18-year-old, the mind is kind of developed, fully developed. They can think, and they are different human beings. So the minute you accept that someone else is different but not wrong, that took me actually a long time to learn this lesson, because I wanted my children to be like me. I wanted my husband to be like me. I wanted my father to be like me. And therefore I did feel a lot of conflict and lot of clashes here and there. But my new lesson, and especially in the last 4 to 6 months, where I've discovered my children as young people, because of lockdown we were together. When they went to the UK for their education, I felt they went as babies. They were very young. So, and of course I met them very often on breaks, but you see, meeting them often and living with them is completely different. These 6 months of living together, I'm suddenly looking at my children and saying, oh my God, she's not my baby anymore. She's a human being in her own right.
Yeah.
And my children are completely different from me. They are inspired a little bit by me, but they are not me. And how can they be? They are not my clones.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to be my clones. I know that they are different from me, and I'm learning to accept the difference and not using that as a reason to like or not like somebody. So whether it is your close family or friends outside or anybody, the only thing we have to understand, different does not mean wrong. Someone being different from you does not mean wrong. So we have to develop that space in ourselves to accept, acknowledge and accept the difference. And you know what, when you do that, you can actually grow in your own space. It's only when you think that all I know or all what I have experienced is right. If you are of that mindset, you can never broaden your vista, you can never broaden your vision. But when you allow space for other people's differences in your life, you actually broaden your personality, your vision. You become like this person who's learning from everything, and there is a lot of learning from everything.
That is beautiful, because not accepting differences, again, you don't have to condone it, you don't have to subscribe to it, but you can just accept that there's an alternate way or thought process that exists out there. Because if I do not do that myself, then guess what happens? It makes me small minded, it makes me somehow petty, and it makes me judgmental. And do any of us want to be that person? I
No,
don't think
we start defining things in good and bad.
Yeah.
When you see, we don't say that that person is different from me. What we say is, we start saying he's terrible, he's bad, he's doing it all wrong.
So we're judging
We
at that
become
point,
very,
right? Yeah.
yeah, we become very judgmental. But all we have to say is that person is different from me, but not wrong. So there
That's
is
such
a
an
lot
amazing, such a powerful shift, because Madhu, it just does not stop at judging. That then it's a slippery slope, and you get to shaming. That oh, not only are they like this, but they treat their kids in such and such manner, or I know this about them, or whatever else. And then we get to shaming and branding people. And whenever that has happened to us in our lives, it's not been a pleasant experience, and we don't want to be that person either to bring upon all this toxicity in another's mind and in their life. So this epidemic of wanting to conform, have people conform, or subtle change in them, which we are coming from a place that it's for their betterment. That's our own personal conviction, especially in marriages. And I'll bring up my own example. So I am a clean freak. I'm very OCD. I'm very process oriented, and I want to stay organized. I want to manage my time, and I want to be structured with my day. My husband has
that explains your platform, organize your life.
Thank you. My husband has sporadic bursts of extreme productivity, and when he has reached that state, he can accomplish maybe what I would do over an entire week. He can do that within few hours. But then that lapses into long hours of just hanging out with the kids, chilling, sitting on the couch, lounging, relaxing, right? So he would like me to just unwire and unwind a little bit. And I would like him to collapse his periods of lounging and relaxing and have more frequency and productivity. And I think now we finally calibrated that we both get each other, and we know for our own sanity and for the other person to be truly happy, this is how they need to be. But not that we didn't try to change each other.
Yeah. So life is a process, and relationship also is a process. We go through lots of highs and lows, and then we have to find our the balance.
Yeah, it can lead to conflict. This intention or desire to change someone can bring up conflict, but it's coming from a very misplaced sense of love, because I love you so much and I think this is better for you. But that might not be the person. You're a different person, just as you explained there. I'm a different person. That might work for you, but not for me. And then very unknowingly, we start sending out this energy to our friends and people who have some place, some proximity to us in our life.
Yeah, in fact, I love this definition that came up in my mind. The Darwinian law of evolution, survival of the fittest. So we always think fittest is somebody who's strongest, who's fastest, all the strongest, fastest, and all that. But I think it is adaptability, how quickly you adapt to the changes, and then you become resilient, and how easily you fit. So survival of the fittest to me actually means how well you fit into the reality of your life as it is today, how you fit with your relationship with your spouse, how you fit in all your relationships, how you fit with the current situation, how you can make it work for you. So, it's not about how strong you are, how fast you are, how good you are, but how adaptable you are, I think, and how you fit. So that survival of the fittest to me actually means how well you fit, and that makes you fittest and survive, and you will survive the best through any difficult, the vagaries of life. You'll be able to get through. If you are adaptable, then you become resilient. You can wait for good times to come when you're going through difficult times.
And this ties back to something you mentioned just a few minutes ago, that treading the world, the earth, with a sense of lightness, without personifications, without strong concepts or judgments, just to go with the flow, to tread lightly. Because when you are light, only then can you adapt, only then can you fit in.
Yeah.
So, Madhu, you and I have also talked about, and in fact, this is a common conversation in every home, every relationship, the presence of social media, which is undeniable. And the sooner we all acknowledge and accept it, the better for us. It is here and it is here to stay. And it is a beautiful thing as well, because guess what? It helps people like you and I and so many others to come together, to connect, to build
Isn't it? Yeah.
Which might not have, even they would not have had any chance on earth otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So what is your personal take on, how we consume social media, and anything that strikes you, or any thoughts that you would want to lend to this equation of how social media is impacting our psychology, our emotions, our relationship?
Albert Einstein, if I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm taking the right name. I read so much, sometimes I forget who said what, but I think this was by Einstein. He said the only decision we have to make in our life is whether we perceive the world as a friendly place or a not friendly place. Is the world a happy place or a not happy place? That's the only decision we have to make. And once you know that, your direction will be like that. So just like in the nuclear age, when the nuclear age came, nuclear bombs were a big threat, because somebody somewhere could blast off a whole nation somewhere far away. Thousands of lives and everything can be destroyed just on a button. So the whole countries felt extremely threatened by those countries who were better equipped with nuclear whatever apparatus. But it is the same thing. Nuclear is an energy, nuclear power. It generates a lot of power, through which so many other revolutions, the industrial revolution, the machinery, and so much has happened because of the nuclear power in all, the way it is used. So it is the most deadly energy. It can wipe out a planet, but it can help you to sustain a planet, regenerate a planet. But so therefore, it's only a tool. It's how we use. Fire, you need to light a stove, and the same fire can burn your house down. So social media can bring you a lot of grief. If you start comparing someone else's life in Miami and Palm Beach, or and you say, oh my God, those people are having a great time. The Kardashians are having a ball while I'm cooking a bhaji in my kitchen. So you see, when I was growing up, I never knew what my neighbor was cooking. Now we know who's cooking in their kitchen in Hollywood, in New York, in some. So you see, we are actually so kind of webbed in. We are so connected in, but that brings a lot of grief, because you always try to measure. That's a very human psyche. You only because you measure, you can. It's also a healthy thing that you have a goal set for yourself, a benchmark. That is only because you have somebody to have a benchmark up against, and then you reach your potential. It's not a bad thing. But social media takes, you kind of sit in front of media and just waste away your time. You compare yourself and burn your self-esteem down, and you always feel that you've not done enough. You always feel you're not good enough, and there's a lot of grief. There is depression and deaths connected to social media, right? That is why we are so scared today with all the internet trolling. We want to protect our children from the computer. But having said that, look at the social media today. People like me are listening to professors in Stanford and Yale. I'm listening to neuroscientists which I didn't know when I was in college, that I had keen interest in human psychology and neuroscience. But today, because I can press one button and I can listen to these amazing professors all over the world in the best universities, what a boon. I'm talking to my brother who lives in America. I look at his face every day, every week. Back in the day, we would wait for that one call which he made once a week. Today, you can look at them, you can see the color of his sofa, and you can connect. You almost never miss anybody because it's giving you that moment of connectivity. It's making you intelligent. It's now making business for you. It keeps you connected. I mean, it's a boon. Now, whether it's a boon or a bane, the user will decide. So we have to become wise and be balanced and not let it take us over, but use it. It's given to us, even alcohol, which is terrible. But every medicine has 2 drops of alcohol in it, the spirit. All medicines have spirit. But when you gulp alcohol, it's terrible for you. But even a healing property it has got the spirit. So like anything else in the world, even social media is amazing if you use it at the right time, and if you are in control of it, and if you're using it, if it is a tool, it is amazing. But if it has taken over your life, then you have a lot of healing to do from that.
Yeah. But one of the advantages also is that today you can see what's cooking in your brother's kitchen.
Yes.
That too. But it's amazing that you highlight the onus is on the consumer, not of the technology or the platform. And this can be an amazing tool if my aspiration is growth, being connected with people, building and continuing and enduring relationships, acquiring knowledge, something beautiful, discovering new places, discovering new thoughts, right? So as a tool of growth, this is phenomenal. But if I am coming from a place where I want to keep track what each one is up to and how fantastic their very deliberate feed is, because guess what? Each one of us, we have so many different fragments, and most of them are mundane in our lives. Yet what we choose to project on social media is a very deliberate feed. It's not unauthentic per se. It's not a lie or false, but that is just a very small snapshot of what the entirety of my day looked like. For freaking sake, my whole day is not like that. And that is true for any one of us. So how unfair and how insensible is it for me to just pick up that one fraction from someone's life and then compare my whole life against it? It's not even equal footing, and then begin pulling my own self down and beating myself up and feeling lack, right?
So now that we are aware of it, we know this is what is happening. The responsibility lies with us. We must take that. When you put your picture on Instagram, do you put your picture when you've got creams on your face? No, you put that picture on Instagram when you think you're at your best looking self, or in a nice garden, or whatever that you've created. That's when you put your picture. Not only that, you make it go through many filters, and you choose the filter that suits you the best, the way you want to present your skin or your hair. And so when you know that you're doing that, and the next minute you're probably mopping your floor, or the next minute probably you're dealing with your children's some rubbish tantrum, but that 1 minute, that Instagram, that pose that you just put it, that it has not been, actually it is not the truth of your life at that moment. It's just a split second. So when that is what you have done, you should also know that everyone else is doing that.
And many a times that's not even the very first click, right? It probably is the 20th if you scroll through that person's phone, or my phone for that matter. Yeah. So Madhu, you read a lot, you look up to knowledge, and you just want to imbibe as much as you can in your life. Any particular readings or teachings that stand out for you? Anything that you've implemented and you've seen a shift happen? In particular, because I know there's just so much that you have organically, you've picked up and you implement.
Yeah, that's right when you say, because I listen to a talk every single day of my life, and I choose my talks, and I listen to so many people. but the things that has resonated, I resonate with, which has resonance with me, lives with me. Sometimes I forget who is the person who conveyed that message to me. But having said that, uh, there is this wonderful, she's actually a mystic, Caroline Mace, and all her books, I've read all of her books, if I may say so. I listen to all her talks, and even today she gives a daily or a weekly update, even during these times. And there is something about her that I feel that the minute I listen to her, I kind of follow her thought process. It feels, it's not just I'm listening to, it just seems to sink in with my being, whatever comes out of her mouth. So yeah, I treat her as my teacher. And then there are many, even an author like Elizabeth Gilbert. She has written, of course, she's most known for her book, Eat, Pray, Love. But I know her for the book that she's written, Magic, and where she talks about what is magic. And after reading her book, I have separated one thing from me. And this has happened only after I read that book, Magic, by Elizabeth Gilbert, where I am not the talent. I am not the genius. I am me, the human being, who has a certain affiliation to dancing or acting, and I can train myself. I have those leanings, I have that in me. But my great work is produced because the genius, she says, I am not the genius, the genius chooses you. My job is to keep myself ready as a tool. I keep myself ready as an actor, whatever I need to practice, or on my body, whatever an actor has to be, I try and keep myself ready for that. But whether I'm getting that opportunity to display my skill, that is God's blessing, that is grace upon you. So when you get that opportunity to express your inborn inherent talent, then you have to be grateful. What happens is, when you act well, when you dance well, or when you produce something amazing, you start feeling that I have done this, it is me. But actually, no, you get that opportunity, you are chosen. There are many, many actors, there are many, many musicians, and so God, or whoever, I like to use the word God, but she says God chooses, the genius chooses, that now I want the world to see this, and I pick you to display your talent. So this concept came from Elizabeth Gilbert. So now I always focus on putting my best effort. Now, whether my best effort clicks with people or not, that pressure is taken away. My job is to put my best intention, have the right intention, be sincere, be dedicated, be hardworking, whatever it is that I need to do. Whether that shows up into the world, and whether the world likes it or not, that is not in my control. That is taken care of. So you see, the two path is completely and clearly different and differentiated. And this concept I learned from Elizabeth Gilbert. So there are many such, Robin Sharma, early morning risers, how effective they become, the 5 a.m. club, Deepak Chopra's the 7 spiritual laws, and there are tons and tons of authors that I read and listen to. And that is why I freely come to share my lessons, not because I feel I know what I'm talking, but I just feel I'm learning, and maybe someone else can learn along with me.
Supremely beautiful, supremely beautiful. And I am going to remember this and retain this from you about Elizabeth Gilbert, that you are the genius in you, or that you were chosen by the genius. And what you can do is just focus on your own sincerity, and that brings along such humility. Oftentimes, we get attached to personifications, we get attached to traits, whether positive or negative. There's another element to it as well. Just going back again to our conversation about this whole positivity and toxicity as it comes to relates to social media, that we also sort of blow out of proportion the gaps and flaws that we see in ourselves. That, I am not very good at this and this, or I am not as an extremely loving person, or I am not very confident, or whatever. So similarly, what I'm hearing from you, similarly, as the genius chose me, and in some moment a spark clicks within me and some magic happens, then all these emotions which are part and parcel of our human existence, those are also fleeting. And let's not just, bind ourselves in a constant identity with them either, that I am always like this, I am not confident, or I'm not good at managing this, or whatever else. So I see
Yeah.
both facets have to be understood.
And also, if you keep yourself in growth mindset, the chances are that you'll be able to deal with rejections and dejections and despair a little better. We all set very high goals for ourselves. And when we are not able to achieve that, then we completely crash and we fall down. We build ourselves to such expectations, and often and sometimes those expectations are not met. So you crash very badly. What again I've experienced, I'm saying all this because I've experienced the fall, the despair, and all that. What now helps me is a new way of looking at it. I may want this for myself, and I may be here, and I may not be able to jump and reach here. But you know what? From here, with my effort and patience, I can go here, and I can go here, and I can go here. So if I say that I am not here, I will always feel despair. But if I feel that from here, I've come here, so I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
better today than where I was yesterday. So you see, the minute
Yeah.
you start adding up, incremental progression is success.
And
Leap.
incremental to in your own life in comparison
Yeah.
to where I was, and not in
Yes.
context of another person.
Yeah,
Very
so
powerful.
incremental progression is success. But if you say that I'm not successful because I've not achieved that, so you look at yourself as I'm not successful. But if you look at yourself incrementally, wow, where I am today, I'm better than where. So every day you will be better than yesterday. So you
And
will
just
always feel that I'm successful. I'm successful. You will always, and that feeling of I'm successful will take you to being successful. And you know what? That leap of achieving that success, that is grace. That is the genius that I'm talking about. That may happen, may not happen, will happen, and God alone knows. But incremental success, you can make it happen every day. You can make yourself better every day by a small measure.
beautiful. So just as I am not the genius, but I was chosen by the genius, similarly, I am not a failure either. I've experienced a failure here and there, but so has everyone else apparently. We may not see it, but each one has had a story that they've lived through. And that's such a powerful reminder to us. Lovely. Madhu, do you have affinity towards writing? Because this is just very natural to who you are. All your thoughts so profound. So have you thought of that? Is that on your list?
I write a lot on Facebook because when certain thoughts pass through my mind, I just go and put it on Facebook. And, as memory, sometimes at Facebook, my memory comes up. And sometimes what I've written in 2014 and 2016, it just pops up, and I'm reading those 4 lines or whatever that I've written. I'm like, wow, this actually came out of me. This is what the great ones are saying. And this has come out of me 4 years ago or 6 years ago. So it makes me wonder, that just goes to prove that the passing thought or the rising thought, either the thought is passing, so it's a collective psyche that's passing through you, or it's a rising thought, your internal, something comes from you. So again, it's coming through you, it's coming out of you, you're in flow. So yeah,
I
so
saw something recently, and I think this you may have penned it a couple of years ago, that precious are those who praise you, and I'm paraphrasing, not your exact verbiage there, but precious are those who praise you because you've been nice or kind to them, but priceless are those who praise you for no reason at all.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
See, I said that. Wow.
You said that, Madhu, and it was a couple of years ago, and then you reshared that recently. And that's, that stayed with me. That was awesome. So beautiful, my lady. We could just spend hours and hours in conversation with you, but we have to relieve you now. It's already been an awesomely long day. So you want to tell us a little bit about your upcoming projects? What can we be excited for and look out for to catch you in?
Yeah, my theater release, I'm really looking forward to it, is a film called Talaivi. It's a bilingual in Tamil and Hindi. It's a biopic of Jaya Lalita, and Kangana Ranaut is in the main lead, and I'm playing the chief minister's first wife. I'm really excited about that project for many reasons, because this is going to be my first biopic. And then I'm doing a lovely kind of a semi sci-fi computer kind of a show on Hotstar, and I'm also doing a murder mystery where I'm playing a pivotal cameo. It's called The Nail Polish, which is on Z Digital platform. So these are my current projects which I'm working on at the moment and waiting for its release.
Awesome, awesome. And if this wasn't said to you before, Madhu, then here on the record, well, our dear lady, you're sweeter than Madhu itself. You're sweeter than honey, even. And may you continue to spread that sweetness all around you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And we will watch you. We'll look out for you on social media with a lot of positivity and sans all the toxicity that I hope we can all collectively release from our lives.
Thank you
For
so
a
much,
beautiful
Ravicha.
conversation.
It was fantastic having this conversation with you. It was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. You stay on Zoom for just a moment. I am going to disconnect the live stream now. Thank you for watching, folks. Have a good one.
दिल है छोटा सा, छोटी सी आशा, मस्त